So we're talking about angle relationships. Majority of this lesson is vocabulary. So it says that an intersection has two roads that intersect at more than 20 degrees away from 90. Determine whether the road intersection shown is skewed by finding the measures of angle ABC or angle DBE. Now when they talk about angles here, the order that they put the letters, so see how that says ABC, that's the order I have to start. So I have to start with A, go to B, and go to C, and this is the angle they're talking about. Then when they're talking about angle DBE, I start with D, I go to B, then I go to E, and this is the angle they're talking about. So it says, examine how the angles are related. Angles opposite each other are called vertical angles. Huge vocabulary word. Vertical angles have equal measures. So what that means is when angles are across from each other, like this one right here and this one right here, they're the same. So if this one's 80, that one's 80, okay? Non-overlapping angles that share a ray are called adjacent. So I think of adjacent angles as angles that are next to each other. They're adjacent. So I'm going to get a different color here. So this angle here, angle ABC, this angle is adjacent to CBD, meaning this one. So adjacent means that they are next to each other. Vertical is across. Now, it says write and solve an equation. So when you look at angles, this angle up here at top is x plus 35. And this one down here at the bottom is 2x minus 10. They are vertical angles, so they're equal. So if you look right here, what they did is they just set the two equations equal to each other because we know that they have to be the same. So when they combine like terms, they add 10 to both sides, subtract x, they get that x is 45. That does not mean that the angle is 45. So if you look at the top, at this one right here, this angle was x plus 35. So x plus 35 was that angle. So I have to actually take this and substitute it in. So 45 plus 35, which means it's 80. So this angle there is 80 degrees, which means this angle has to be 80 degrees as well because they are vertical angles. The triad. Angle M and Q and angle P and R are vertical angles. That's their way of telling you that they are the same or they are equal. What is the value of x? Vertical angles are equal. So the equation, so if I look, angle MNQ, meaning this angle here, is equal to PNR, is equal to that. So those two are the exact same. So I could write the equation 3x minus 6 equals 114 because those two angles are equal. When I solve that, which I'll solve it up here, 3x minus 6 equals 114. You draw your line. Inverse operation, you get that 3x equals 120. So I divide each side by 3, and I get that x is 40. My angles aren't 40. X is 40. So here, I would do 3 times 40 minus 6, and you would still get 114. Example 2. Ray EG splits the right angle DEF into two angles. So here is another vocabulary word, complementary. It means when two angles equal 90 degrees. So it's hard to see on my picture here, but this angle is 36 degrees and this angle is 3x. They also have a box here to show that it is a right angle. So what they did here is they set it equal to 90, 3x plus 36, and then they found out that x was 18. Supplementary angles are two angles that when you add up, they equal 180. Now, this is one way of seeing supplementary angles. You guys will probably see supplementary angles like this, where they have a line and they have a ray that is splitting it. And then what they do is they say this angle plus this angle has to equal 180 degrees. You guys should know right off the bat that a straight line is 180 degrees, okay? So obviously any two angles that make a straight line has to equal 180. So with example 2, the main thing that I want you to understand is that complementary angles equal 90, supplementary equals 180. Find the measure of an unknown angle, for example 3. Find the measure of angle PAR. Okay, so PAR is this question mark right here. The measure of angle UAG is equal to the measure of angle KAR. So this little angle here, UAG, that's 6x, is equal to measure of angle KAR, which is 2x plus 16. So they set the two equal to each other. 6x equals 2x plus 18. And they got that x is 4. So with this angle here, x is 4, and it's 6 times x, so that angle is actually 24 degrees. And then here, I have to do 2 times 4, which is 8, plus 16. That is proof to show that vertical angles are equal, 24 degrees. Now, it says use complementary angle, which means 90 degrees to find the measure of the unknown. So here is my right angle. I had to figure out x first, so that way I could figure out what this angle was. Because I know 24 degrees plus this angle here has to equal 90. So the measure of angle KAR plus the measure of PAR has to equal 90. I substitute 24 in for the angle that I know, and you get that it's 66 degrees. Try it. It says the measure of angle 1 is 4 times the measure of angle 2. Angle 1 and angle 2 are complementary. So right off the bat, we know that angle 1 plus angle 2, they have to equal 90 degrees. Angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles. So I know that angle 1 has to equal angle 3 because they're vertical. Vertical means the same. Angle 3 and angle 4 are supplementary. So angle 3 plus angle 4 has to equal 180 degrees. Now, we have to figure out the measure of all 4 angles. We need to go back to that first statement. Measure of angle 1 is 4 times the measure of angle 2. So we are going to allow angle 2 to be x. And then we know that angle 1 is 4 times that. So angle 1 is 4 times x, which is what 2 is. And now if I look right here, if I add the two angles together, I get 90 degrees. So what I need to do is I need to do angle 2 plus angle 1 is going to equal 90. So I'm going to get that 5x equals 90, which means x is 18. Now that I know x is 18, I can say that angle 2 is 18 degrees. I can say that angle 1 is 72 degrees because 4 times 18 is 72. Or up here it said angle 1 plus angle 2 is 90. Well, if angle 2 is 18, then angle 1 has to be 72 to equal 90. Here, my next statement, we still have angle 3 and angle 4 to figure out. Angle 1 and angle 3 have to equal each other because they're vertical angles. So if angle 1 is 72 degrees, then angle 3 has to be 72 degrees. And now all we're left with is figuring out what angle 4 is, which let me erase this math here. The last statement that we wrote down was that angle 3 plus angle 4 is 180. So angle 3 is 72 degrees plus angle 4 has to equal 180. And when I do the math, we know that angle 4 is 108 degrees.